choir coordinator on our music ministry team. She's been with us since the summer of 2018 and has brought so much new energy and enthusiasm to what we do, especially in our ministry to children. Candy is a veteran music educator. Is that okay if I use the word veteran, Candy?
Yes, experienced veteran. Don't just say old, though.
No, right. We're going to go for some sort of euphemism. She really is in, I guess, sort of semi-retirement because she remains very busy as a Garland ISD mentor for music educators and a Texas UIL judge. But she had a long career with Garland ISD, teaching at Austin Academy for Excellence and Saxe High School. She has degrees from Texas Tech in Lubbock and a master's degree from University of North Texas with their wonderful music school there. So I'm just going to turn it over to Candy and let's see what she has to tell us about children's music ministry this morning.
All right, I'm going to try to share my screen and show you a PowerPoint. And I want to thank Jeff Brummel for helping me with this so much. Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to make it go from the, there we go. Okay. So big thank you to Jeff. And also I have a handout and I'll send it to Doug today, and then he can send it to you because the handout has some links, some YouTube links for things that we've done that you could see. And also it has a handout about my creative arts camp and might help you not have to reinvent the wheel if you want to do some of these things. My stuff is not copyrighted. Should be. All right. So I was trying to think of an acronym we could use to kind of get me started. And I came up with SHARE. And it doesn't, I will just tell you right now, it's not totally grammatically correct, but that's okay because we're musicians. So SHARE stands for sustain, hopeful, adaptive, relevant, and ever evolving. So for sustaining, I'm thinking that one of the things that we're trying to do in children's ministry is, help children stay connected to church and to God, to help them stay connected to their trusted adults. Our kids have really enjoyed getting to see in person one of their children's choir workers or a Sunday school teacher, and we've done that on some some live parking lot activities, as well as some virtual things that we do. And we're trying to help them sustain a relationship with music. I want them to know that music is a place where they can come and express joy. They can express sorrow or worries and fears, and that music will speak to their soul. And so we really are trying to help them stay connected in that way. And we want them to be able to sustain their faith. I want it to be personal. I want it to be relevant. And I want their faith in music to be a source of strength in these uncertain times. We're trying to film from familiar spaces, things that will speak to the kids. Like we've made some music videos on the playground, fish tank by the preschool area, in the chapel, the sanctuary, a Sunday school room, our choir rehearsal spaces. And we did a scavenger hunt in the summer where they came and I sent out clues and they came to the church and they took pictures with their parents of, once they figured out, oh, that's the steeple, or oh, that's the children's statue, or that's the fountain. They went to those places and took pictures. And I'm working on a scavenger hunt now where I'm just in different places in the church or things that they would know. And it's called Where is Miss Candy? So here we are in the chapel. And then in the middle, we're singing on the playground. And then to the right, I'm in my backyard, and my dog Scout is a familiar face that they know, furry face. And they love Scout because he's in a lot of videos. He's barking right now in the background. I'm sure you can hear him. But like when we had a t-shirt pickup for Creative Arts Camp, the kids were like, why didn't you bring Scout? They were much more interested to see him than me. So you know how that goes. We want this to be a hopeful time. We want to tell our kids all the time, this won't last forever, and you can do it. We're taking care of kids, and we're also taking care of adult workers. I had a choir appreciation, moment on the parking lot because we didn't get to do the things that we normally would do in May. which would be our end of the year concert, where I would express appreciation to all our workers. Also give out hymnals to our first graders with their names on them, and we're doing that. I just got them in my office, and so we'll be doing that on one of our parking lot nights in a couple of weeks. And so those kind of things are important. Also with my workers, I'm having Zoom time, extra happy hour, and we get together about once every 2 months, and we're just visiting, doing prayer concerns. I found out that one of my workers' husband had COVID, their whole family was in quarantine, and they've kind of kept that on the down low for a while, and then she just told all of us. So, it's just a nice moment to pray together, to laugh together, reminisce. And I've told them all, since you got off from March to May, I expect you to, and through December now, I expect you to sign up for choir whenever it happens again. No questions asked. So hopefully that'll happen. It's adaptive. Oh, and if anybody has any questions, just feel free to pop in. We're not having regular Wednesday night choir for kids or adults. And in our building right now, according to the Dallas guidelines, we're just doing 10 people or less, but of course, obviously it wouldn't be singing, and that's too small for, really many music groups. So we developed this program called Sunday Night Live, and it's music, missions, and Bible skills, just like they would have on Wednesday nights. And we're doing it on the second and fourth Sunday evenings for this fall semester. There are 3 25-minute rotations. And in the choir rotation, we're doing a fun song, 1 or 2 anthems, and a hymn. Everybody's wearing masks, and they're socially distanced. We can accommodate about 50 people. So it's really, really nice. We are making sure that we follow any kind of copyrights if we post something online, and the music that we're using, also Growing in Grace, had to pay for that, for us to be able to use that music and make sure that we were following those copyright guidelines. And here's some photos of what we're doing. On the left, we have a man who plays his guitar, and they know this guy, JV, from Sunday school, and he plays for us for about 10 minutes. Kids are gathering. We always have latecomers, and so that helps us with registration time and with the time for kids to gather and be in the correct group. And then in the next picture, you can see that they're socially distanced on the parking lot. We drew numbers with chalk in each area, and so when kids came over to our area, we said, you be 8, you be 6, you be number 1. So they all sat there. They could bring a towel or a yoga mat to sit on if they wanted to. It was totally up to them. And of course, in the music area, we're standing and moving a lot. There's some of the music. Our kids are divided into 3 groups, kindergarten and first, then second and third, and then 4th, 5th, and 6th. So those are the rotations. They love the action songs, obviously, and even our little people are wearing masks. And it was really, really a fun time. Here's a shot of Bible skills. Each child is asked to bring a bag, and they can bring their own Bible if they want to. They bring their own pen or pencil, although we have some, and once they're used, we put them in the used basket. They're also bringing their own water bottles, and then they bring, like I said, a towel or a yoga mat if they want to sit. And on the left here, we're singing head, shoulders, knees, and toes, and that was supposed to be my warm-up, but I can tell you, I had not sung in a mask like that. And after about, 3 rounds of up and down, I could hardly breathe or sing. And I don't know how many of you have spent time singing in masks, but it's really, really challenging. At school, we've got kids spaced 10 feet apart in squares with a chair in the middle, and they're mostly just humming. I led a sectional outside yesterday for a middle school, and we were around these picnic tables, and little voices, middle school voices, they don't make much sound. So it's hard. And singing outside, we found there were a lot of traffic noises too. I don't know if anybody, this is the singer's mask that our district provided for every child. They're about $20 each. And I will tell you, yesterday I was shocked, not one kid was wearing them. And but they look like a duck bill when you put it on, because it has so much space in front of it. And they don't smell great either. But what I found to work better, and I don't know if y'all have used these or not, but this little silicone insert, tried to get Jeff to do this yesterday, but it keeps the mask off your face, especially when you're breathing in. And it also kind of increases, lets you have a little more volume behind that. And then for singing, after the first rotation on that night, I switched to a paper mask because it was much easier to breathe through and to sing through. And so I would encourage you to build up your stamina for singing behind the mask, because it is a real challenge. So this Sunday Night Live is 1.5 hours total, 3 rotations for music, missions, and Bible skills. There's 10 minutes together with music, and then there's a 25-minute rotation for each group. And everybody's wearing masks. We're apart. We purchased a really nice battery-operated keyboard that gives us plenty of sound. And then this week, we're always adapting. We know that we needed headset microphones with portable speakers for the teachers. So we've already got those. We tried it out on Monday at the preschool playdate, and it was such a help because my voice was shot after singing outside on the parking lot behind a mask for an hour and a half. And we don't do any shared handouts. Whatever I have for them or Bible Skills has, they put it in their bag and they take it home, so that we're trying to be as cautious as we can. But at first, like, our church was like, no handouts, nobody's going to the bathroom. We were like, we have to weigh hospitality and education with safety. And so we have worked out ways to do that. We have people that escort them to the bathroom. We encourage them to go to the bathroom before they arrive. But, all of us have been in that situation where, there's too many people out there around all the bushes. So you've got to go inside. All right. Also for that time, there's no parents with elementary children, and they get an hour and a half off, like if they don't have preschoolers or something. But it's really nice for them, or they could go off and visit with a friend. We don't want to know what they're doing, but they get some time away from kids. The music is relevant. I've made sure that we picked songs that could speak to the kids where they are right now. We're doing a song called Press On. In music camp, we did one called Pressing On, but they're all based on the Bible verse. It's Ephesians or Philippians. I'm sure y'all know that from Bible drill days. But great song. We're doing a song called With a Little Bit of Faith. And it was with our mask, because I said, when you do the T with a little bit, and there was a rest right there, I said, I want to see that mask go and when you breathe in. So we practiced that so I could see them breathing behind their mask. And then we're doing the hymn, All Things Bright and Beautiful, for the month of September. We're also doing virtual choir. So twice a month for preschoolers and for children, we do different formats. We offer a video, we send it out. I've scanned the music, it goes to them. We do a little video, and then participants can send me a video or pictures of them singing or whatever activity we've done. And it's really been fun. I started that in April, and I don't always get twice a month because it's a little bit crazy. I'm trying to make a Bitmoji choral hall. Have any of you done Bitmojis, or you've seen them? Maybe if you have kids in school and their teacher has a Bitmoji classroom. And it's really cool. So in our preschool, I'm going to send you a link for our preschool video offering that just happened this week. And Allison Wingfield, my preschool expert, she's doing that video. And so I think you'll really enjoy it and get some ideas from that. Like Sunday Night Live, we have a preschool play date, but it's just once a month. And it's on the 3rd Monday of every month on the outside parking lot. 45 minutes total, and there's a limit with Sign Up Genius of 30, and that 30 includes their parents. They have to bring a mom or dad or a nanny or whatever with them. This says children 2 and under wear masks, but it's actually 2 and over. So, and they all did it. They were great. Music during this preschool time is the only timed activity. So we have 2 15-minute sessions. For the other things, they can just run and do this and run and do that. But for music, I wanted them to come and be focused and let Allison do her entire presentation. So we had a lot of good success with this on Monday. We just did it this last Monday. And in addition to music, then there was a story time by our church librarian. There was an obstacle course. There were games, and there was chalk art. And so there were lots of little preschool bodies just going crazy and so excited to see their friends. Here's some pictures we're setting up for music. And again, we used a CD player for this because normally I love to do live music, but we used the CD player also because we had things we wanted them to march to, some familiar songs they had heard last fall or last spring. And then again, if you've got a great preschool leader, I taught junior high and high school my whole career. And while I'm certified, K through 12, little kids are more challenging for me. I'm used to teenagers, and if they look me in the eye and, share a 4-letter word, that's fine, but I don't do whining very well. So Allison, on the other hand, can handle that. And we had marching in this, we had clapping, we had singing, and you can see we also had some clinging. A lot of these preschoolers stayed right by their parents, and others were just running to their friends. We had big text. They could take a picture. And we're just finding that these plans are always evolving. We're tweaking them every week after we have an event. Then we talk about it. What do we need? Like, that's how we realized we needed microphones for the teachers. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to do a video of a parking lot performance of children for Hanging of the Green. I haven't picked the song because it's going to have to be really simple in order to do this. And I'm still trying to figure out who's there and how it's going to go. But we're trying to adapt all our normal activities. For Vacation Bible School this summer, obviously we didn't meet in person, but we did have 3 live events on the parking lot. And we included a video that we sent out every day. It had the Bible story, it had a drama, and it had videos of the music time. And then I did a music camp in July. And because music camp in July had a bump in COVID from Memorial Day, we didn't get to do anything live. So it all became virtual, and music camp actually morphed into creative arts camp. I was trying to reach a broader number of children. Maybe, every child, music is not their thing. So for creative arts camp, we had music, we had movement, we had art, we had a creativity section, there were writing prompts, there were like 2 and 3 people plays that you could do with your family. There were all kinds of games, 10 ways to play tag, how to play the card game Spoons, just so many fun things for families to do. We made a gratitude journal. I had a big packet that they picked up, and that was at the very beginning of camp. They signed up, they paid, they came and got their packet, which had all the art supplies in it, a guide to what we were doing. It had paint pens, it had the gratitude journal in there that you decorated, had a big rock. We painted rocks and we made peace rocks. And anyway, it was just really, really cool. And so we also had some special things because we had canceled cooking camp, we had canceled, live VBS, we canceled, going to camp overnight. And so we were trying to pick up as many things as we could. So Jeff was kind enough to do 2 organ things for us. We did a pipe organ tour, and then he played some scary music for us. And then we had a cooking class. Our chef at church, she sponsored a s'more challenge where the kids got to make up their own ingredients, and hers were amazing. She did teach them how to make mac and cheese and had a vegetable in it, which, I'm on film going, I'm not going to eat the broccoli, but, I got to put something different in mine. And so then we also had magic time. And so this is a great time to involve other people in your church that have talents, like your organist or your chef. We used a professional artist, and she helped us with our art time. And then we also had a college student who is studying art, and she was our helper for that. If you have a magician, I had a dancer, and a gymnast. And so we just had all kinds of things going on. And I will send you in this handout a link that shows like the last day, and I give a little intro, and then we have this yoga movement, and you'll see that. You see the art. They made a nature sculpture, so they went on a little hike and made this stuff. And anyway, it's just really, really cool. And it became something really fun, and it'll be a good transition. I think from now on, instead of music camp, we'll do like a creative arts camp that will involve all the arts and involve a lot of people, in addition to doing a musical like we do in the summer. That will be the main focus, of course, because that's my thing. So it'll be really fun. Let me show you some pictures that kids shared with us. That was our verse for the week. And here's Eliana. She's got her gratitude journal that she painted. She's got a mask. We made masks because we wanted it to be relevant. and hers, as you can see, is Black Lives Matter, which was very cool. It meant a lot to me because we had one day that was multicultural day at Creative Arts Camp. And so we sang the spiritual Yonder Come Day. We sang the Spanish folk song De Colores. I taught them the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. We did an art activity that featured a famous Black artist who was a collage artist, and then they made a collage that depicted Lift Every Voice and Sing to them. And we painted these peace rocks. That day in yoga and movement, all the music was multicultural. They moved to Indian music, they moved to Latino music, they moved to hip hop music. It was clean. I'll just say that. It was good. So it was a lot of fun. And so I loved seeing how it impacted them because, of course, all summer long, they were aware of protests that were happening in our nation. And we want to address that as Christians too. This is what's happening, and we love all people. And so it was just a great opportunity for them. Here's Eliana showing me her creative arts writing, and it was about design your own vegetable. Of course, mine was chocolate. Hers was something that started out leafy and green, and then when you cooked it, the cells turned to purple squares. And, you know, we had to say, what did it taste like? How would you serve it and cook it? On the right, you see a Zoom art session. So they had all these materials with them, and like that little wooden cross, and then they made a collage with that said, all things that have breath, let us praise the Lord. And it was really, really cool. So the instructor was on Zoom, and a few kids were on Zoom too. And then we filmed that and we sent it out to everybody else. But kids had the choice to be in Zoom, the Zoom art, if they wanted to live. There's another verse. Each day we had a special verse that highlighted art and how God loves our creativity, and we get to praise him in so many ways. There's our organ donor, Jeff. And then there's our s'more challenge. One of the kids sent me those s'more picture, and you know, there were some really good looking ones and some crazy ones too. One mom said that was the worst thing I've ever eaten, which is hard to imagine with chocolate. So we also did Wilshire's Got Talent. This was church-wide live YouTube event, and there were all ages and all varieties of talents represented, and we had a special kids section. So for the kids, we had a couple of music people. We had a little boy that did basketball trick shots. He was totally amazing, a little first grader. We had singing, we had some magic tricks by our preschoolers, and it was really, really fun. And again, just like Jeff's recital tonight, we get to do it live chat on the side. We involved a lot of other people who introduced different sections of the talent show, and it was just a great experience. For kids, we did a really easy virtual experience, our Palm Sunday video. They already knew this song. We'd been working on it in choir, and so we didn't want to miss out on Palm Sunday. So I sent the music to them in a link, and they sang with it. And I told the kids, we're not going to hear your individual voice. We're going to hear the recording, but I want to see you sing. And so they got their own branches from their yard, or they made a palm branch, and they sang with this. And then it was really easy, much easier, not easy, but easier for our videographer to put it together, because it was just a single shot, or it was maybe two people, and everybody wasn't on the screen at once, and the little postage stamps like you see, which take about an hour per person to really load up and do correctly. Here's some pictures from that video, and there's a link in my handout so that you can see the video. But kids sang in different places. And this little girl on the right is doing American Sign Language. Catherine learned how to sign. Her grandmother knows sign language, and so she signed the chorus, and it was really beautiful. And there were everybody from 6th graders down to 4-year-olds, so it was a lot of fun. And looking ahead, we're hoping to do a Wilshire's Got Talent holiday edition, and I may do a winter edition of Creative Arts Camp with like a hot chocolate challenge or a gingerbread house challenge, singing songs about snow, which we don't see much of in Dallas, make snow or snow ice cream, winter art, like all your winter clothes, make a sculpture out of that, your hats and gloves and coats, and you know, black and white photography, nature in winter. There are just lots of possibilities. And so get some people together that are creative and enthusiastic, and find some ways to involve your kids. We're only doing things twice a month, like I said, so that right now kids are bombarded with school. They are zoomed out if they're online. And so having a little bit of live things on the parking lot, it's just been a real godsend for them. And then I don't want to overextend parents with too many options from church. So we're thinking that twice a month is plenty. And, we're just trying to meet their needs where they are. And so for the last thing, I ended with joy. The theme was share the joy. And, if you're raised in church, everybody knows that joy is Jesus, others, and yourself. So we do want, Jesus to be glorified in all that we do. We want him to be present with those kids and for them to know that. And I like to think of J2 as just breathe. Sometimes right now we're all overwhelmed and just frustrated, and we want to do more, but we don't know what to do. And so I just would encourage you to do the Holy Spirit thing. Just breathe and let God guide you. The O for others, check on others. I will say at Wilshire, we've just got so many groups doing a good job of that. And just, do the best you can, encourage others, try to reach out in new ways. And remember, don't worry. Like I had a Zoom meeting where just one child came. It was okay. And she talked for 25 minutes. So that's what she needed. And, so don't worry if your event has one person or 10 or 25. Just remember, it's about them and what they need. And they'll let you know by their ability to participate at that time. Everything is worthwhile. And then the why is you. Take care of yourself and take care of your needs, because, if you're not in a healthy place, it's going to be hard for you to help others. And I know that sounds cliche, but boy, it is so true. And all of us have times, like I'm a real peppy person, very positive and upbeat, but there've been times during this pandemic that I have really felt down because I'm very social and, it's been hard. But just take care of yourself and remember that you matter and you are making a difference. Any questions?
So Candy, you're going to send me this handout and I'll forward it to everybody on the email list. And I think that handout's going to have some links in it you referenced.
Yes,
Great.
Absolutely. You'll get to see the Palm Sunday video. You'll get to see the Creative Arts Camp, one of them, and I'll give you the whole Creative Arts Camp handout. If you want to see Wilshire's Got Talent, you can find it on YouTube. And so I might send out Jeff's organ tour for the kids. It was so awesome. And they were just amazed at seeing, he walked through all the pipes and they could, figure out where they were in the church. And they didn't know that we had 3 organs, the organ in the front, the back, the chapel. And it was just really, really fun for them. So there are just so many creative things that you can do. And don't think something's too dumb or whatever. They'll love it.
Candy, thank you so much. And you all can see how fortunate we are to have such a gifted music educator like Candy on our music ministry team. So thank you for spending some time with us today. And I'm now going to pivot to Kyle and let Kyle introduce Mark Lawson.
Yes, Mark Lawson, I'm pleased to introduce to the group, or if you, many of you are familiar with Mark, of course, president of the ECS Publishing Group. And I'm just going to pass it on to Mark because Mark's got some wonderful things to share with us as we're thinking about Advent and Christmas planning. Mark, thank you.
Great, it's great to be here. And can you fix it so I can share my screen too, if that would be
Yeah, I've
helpful.
made you co-host a moment ago, Mark.
Okay.
You should be able to do that.
Yes, very good, very good. Well, before I launch into it, first of all, thanks for letting me be here. It's so great to see so many of you. And I know that right now it's such a hard time to spend a little more time on Zoom, but thanks for doing it. Let me give you a little bit of background before I show you this to tell you how kind of what the purpose is of this today. So I grew up in a very non-liturgical kinds of church. I grew up in a church where it was Sunday night, pick your favorite hymns. It was, on Sunday mornings, just pretty much pick your favorite hymns too. You know, it didn't really have any context between what the preacher was preaching or whatever. So it wasn't actually until I went to seminary that I kind of came into understanding that there's this thing called liturgical, or there was this thing called the church year, or this kind of thing. And when I came out of seminary and went into local church work, really there weren't that many Baptist churches who did anything with the church year, or didn't even know what the common lectionary was at that point. So it was actually as I was involved and learning that myself that many pastors that I worked with over those years started pivoting to, we love that word these days, don't we? Started looking at saying, hey, what's the church year like, and how can we use this? And, you know, and then you start seeing the common lectionary maybe start working its way into more common Baptist practice. So then I came to Morning Star. Morning Star was founded on that liturgical perspective, and that's why actually I was attracted to Morning Star, because I was using those materials, I was finding them helpful. So when we went to start developing a website, we really started thinking about it in terms of how does this work liturgically for our customers, because that's how they looked at things. So for those that are have never seen our website or tried to use it, I would say that one of the things that's really helpful is you can use this as a worship planning tool without necessarily feeling like you're going to go buy something all the time. And I want to encourage people to do that. So I thought we would, when I was showing this to Kyle, he thought this would be helpful for me to show you some of the tricks that are behind the scenes on the website and how it might be helpful for you in worship planning. So let me share my screen with you. And I think it's doing it. Here we go. All right. Now let me pull this over. Let me show you a little bit about the site. One of the things I would say is that I use a couple of different resources as we do this site that help us. Number one is I use the Vanderbilt Revised Common Lectionary site, okay? I look at this, I use this for the different readings, for the different, so if I'm in here, Season After Advent, and I'm looking at what's appropriate for this particular Sunday, okay? It has all the scriptures, and it helps kind of formulate what this planning is going to look like. Another thing that I use a lot is the Methodist planning guide, because he does a lot of hymn choices. And if you go to our site and you go to our, up here at this corner, you'll notice, by the way, that we have different categories for all different products, because our catalog is so broad, it needs to be broken into smaller sections so that each section has its own search functions. That was one thing that always drives me crazy about going to websites. I don't know about you, but when you try to search and there's just these generic search terms and they aren't specific to a particular area, like if I go to handbells, I want to know how many octaves, something is, or different things. So that's built in. So this planning guide, you choose, because we have a large Catholic market as well, it's divided into two parts, the Revised Common Lectionary or the Catholic. If you choose this, and then you choose your Sunday, let's suppose we go down here to where we currently are, and let's say we're looking toward November 8 planning, okay? When you see this, you'll notice that you can see the different readings, you can see the SATB, different hymns, different things that were already selected for that day. I want to back up one because there's not something that didn't load on November. So let me go to here. And this will be loaded up for November. I think there was a little bit of a glitch. You'll notice this is just a feature I love a lot, and that is all the hymn choices that go with the lectionary for that day. And if I click on one of these hymn choices, I get everything in the catalog that is on that tune. So I can see the piano pieces, I can see the handbell pieces, I can see accompaniments. If I want to say, oh, I want to use an introduction, and I just want to download it right now, I go here to this downloadable section. I can see everything in the catalog that is downloadable only. Okay, so it will feature those different things. This is just to me such a helpful. I'm stuck a little bit this morning here. My internet today has been a little spotty, which is not good for showing things. But you'll notice all the different hymn tunes. And if I click on Foundation, I will get everything that is here. And one thing I find people using this for is that they already own many of these. I like to go to the All button at the bottom and see them all at one time. Some people already own these resources and go, oh yeah, I could use that. Oh, I could use that. Or they're looking for creative introductions, or they're looking for descants, or they need a brass accompaniment for it. You know, just all kinds of different things that you can find here. And you might even have in your own library already. Another feature I really like about the planning guide is over here under the hymn resources, you can pick just hymn accompaniments. I'm interested in what you've got for brass, or I'm interested in what you've got for handbells or whatever to go with that particular hymn. So over here, once I pick that, I can go here and say, I want brass, handbell, instrumental descants, orchestra. A lot of times people have an orchestra and they say, what hymns can I play with my orchestra that I need? So these are all just extremely helpful things that come under that planning guide. Another piece in the planning guide that I like is the Psalm reference. Here again, I'm having a little trouble. And that is, this psalmody here. If I click this, I get every psalm. And you'll see that Psalm 25 has 25 things that go with that psalm. And I can click that and I can see all the different things that were based on that psalm. Okay? So now let me go back and show you something. Because I worked with a pastor who didn't really use the lectionary, I couldn't use all the different little tools that the lectionary provided. So I would use the reverse lectionary kind of approach. If I knew the scripture that they were going to use, then I could go here to the lectionary, Vanderbilt lectionary. I could plug in, you know, Isaiah 12 here. Let's say he was using that. And I could go, and it would tell me which Sunday in the lectionary that scripture showed up in. Then I could go to my lectionary page and find it in all these different resources, which was really helpful because then I could see hymns that were appropriate and all those different kinds of things. So that's how, even if they're not using a lectionary, this could be helpful. Let me show you a couple other little things about the website that I think are important right now. It's, as I mentioned before, it's divided into categories. And so each category has its own set of search functions. So if I go to church choral, I'm going to get different filterings on the left than I would if I were in instrumental, okay? Things that are really helpful to me are liturgical year options, okay? All kinds of things there. Topics, you will see the topics then range from things that you would tend to find in the back of the hymnal, okay? And then another one is traditional texts. I use this a lot because particularly in liturgical worship, some of these texts show up over and over and over. And it's nice to see all the different glorias or something. So those are a few of the things in choral that I would say are real important. Obviously, voicing. The other thing is we do a lot with series. You know, Atlanta Master Chorale Series is one I refer to a lot in our group that seems to be popular. The Baylor series is here. Different things. If you know a series that you like, you can find the other things in that series very easily by going right here. Now let me go to instrumental. The reason we divided instrumental from orchestra is because orchestra is only going to refer to your large group, okay? Whereas instrumental is going to be all your different small ensembles and your solo instruments. We really struggled with how to do this because there's so many different options. So we decided to divide them into categories like brass, mixed, strings, woodwinds. Okay, so if I'm looking for a trumpet solo, I'm going to hit brass. And then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to choose my instrument, which is going to be trumpet. And now I'm finding 154 things for trumpet. All right, and now I want it for Christmas. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to choose Christmas. Okay, so you can see how it starts filtering, and I want it quick, so I want to know which ones are downloadable. And those kinds of things help me. Or I'm looking for a trumpet descant for Sunday, and this is how you find it. It's very easy to negotiate that. So you'd find different choices. I'm going to go back to instrumental for a minute. One of the things I think that most people underutilize is small ensembles, things like trios, because it's hard to find that kind of music. I would say that if you're looking for ensemble type music, that one of the things to do is go here and say, okay, I think I've got a string trio. What do I have for string trio? You know, that kind of thing. Another one I would point out is under series, we have this collection called the Dwayne Thunderbird Chamber Music Series. These are all just really, really wonderful. And they are small groupings of instruments. So this is a violin piano with an optional oboe, optional string quartet. This is woodwind quintet, piano oboe, you know, just all different kinds of mixtures of ensembles. And these are fabulous. Dwayne Thunderberg is used to teach at Azusa Pacific in California. And then he is in a large church in which he just happens to have members of the Los Angeles Philharmonic in his congregation. So he writes a lot of these for really talented instrumentalists, and it's a great little area. Another thing that we try to do on the instrumental section is do some thinking about what people are looking for and put them out on front. So when we use the term flexible hymn settings, what we mean is that there are many different options for the solo instrument. It may have a C part, a B flat part, it might have a French horn part, you know, it could have several different options. And then we have hymn-based versus non-hymn based. And then we go into solos that are specific for an instrument. So you can find clarinet, flute, whatever. And then we've also tried to divide it into strings, brass, so that you kind of know what area you're focusing on. There's just so much here. It's really hard to filter it and find anything without kind of getting that some kind of connotation in what you're looking for. We also did, if you'll notice back on the home page, that one of the things that we've done is we think that people are really going to be looking for the Christmas things that they can do with different instrumental ensembles. So this Christmas portal is already put together and has all different options for different instruments that's all related to Advent and Christmas. So, and then this festive carols is just all settings that you do to spice up the carols, okay? It may be big expanded introductions, it may be accompaniments, it may be descants, but this is all related to congregational singing in that area. And then we did solos. So this is an area that if you're really struggling with what you're going to be doing for Christmas and Advent without choir, this is the place to look, actually, right here. Let me go back out and let's look real fast at vocal. We have a huge vocal catalog, and a lot of it is recital music because we have an opera part of our catalog that's fairly significant. So that doesn't always mix well with the church music. So we tried to do as much dividing as possible into this, so you can see that when you get to vocal opera, you'd really want to choose church vocal, or you get thrown into thousands of titles that might not be of relevance to you. We also did a lot of the vocal solos in a downloadable form because they were coming along during this COVID time. And they're all kind of already listed right here. One thing that we haven't done, but we're going to be doing, is we do not have solos integrated with the liturgical planning guide. So those don't show up on the liturgical planning guide unless you have a tune that a vocal solo happens to be written on. So we're going to be doing that, though, to make sure and try to put that feature in. Okay, I have gone extremely fast. And so what I'd like to do is go back and see if any of you have any questions or a particular area you'd like for me to kind of mention or go back to. Any particular questions? Okay. I think that when you approach the site like this, that you do kind of have to think liturgically just a little bit. You know, so many times in a liturgical church, the music director, the minister of music is also the organist or the pianist, or they're doing everything. And so sometimes what happens in churches where there is a minister of music and an organist, or a minister of music and a pianist, they don't know about this kind of site as well as the minister of music does, because they're not out there necessarily planning in the same way. So we always encourage them to share this website with organists and pianists, because sometimes they're not on the mailing list in the way that the minister of music is. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope I've kept it within the length of time that you would like for me to. And please know that if you ever can't find things and you're looking for specific kinds of products, let me know, because we tweak this filtering all the time. We're all the time looking for things like when we're doing choral, for example. There's this thing called popular choral searches. This is where it's hard to search without a pre-selected search of some kind. So someone will come along and say, oh, I've been looking for canons, but I can't find canons in your, for children's choir. Okay, how do I do that? Well, so we put it in popular choral searches, so it's easier. The other thing is, you will notice under choral that there's also a completely different children's area. That's a real important thing, because again, the filtering often is different from what you want, topic-wise, difficulty-wise, voicing-wise. So everything in this children's area is already pre-selected that it's for children. One thing is when a SA piece comes in and it's written for a college choir, it might not show up in the children's area, but it's hard when you're looking for voicing and you choose SA, you get everything that's SA. This, if you choose by children and you choose SA, you're only going to get the ones that are designated to be for children's voices. So,
Mark, thank you. The breadth of material products you have, the way you've organized it, I can tell you yesterday I spent time researching as I'm trying to think creatively about some Advent services and Christmas Eve, and it is helpful to have it laid out this way. So thank you so much, Mark.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And good luck to all of you, because I know it's a scramble right now trying to figure out what you're going to do and what kind of resources you need. And it's a struggle. I know it is. And so we're trying to make sure the website reflects what we have. And, when you've got three companies, one was in 1921, one was in 1935 founded, there's a breadth of material there that is thousands of titles, and it's really hard to wade through everything and see what it is. So that's the whole purpose behind this, is let us do the filtering work and hopefully helps you get to what you want quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Great. We're going to close here in just a second. I have something I want to read to you, and I'm going to offer a closing prayer. But before I do that, I want to welcome Mark Groves to our call today. Mark has, I understand, recently gone to Central Baptist Church in Bearden, which is near Knoxville, Tennessee, moving from Florida, and doing so during a pandemic. Mark, just briefly, how are things going, and have you gotten your family to Tennessee? Are you and your family in Tennessee now?
Hey, Doug, and everyone. I see several faces here I've known for a long time and probably haven't seen in a long time, so thank you. Yeah, we've made this move in a really unusual time. I came in July, and my family came a little bit later, and so we're still in temporary housing, closing on a home here next week, and
Good.
moving things up from Florida then. And so it's, as it is for everyone, it's an interesting and challenging time for sure. And just not only trying to figure out and grow accustomed to a new place, but also just trying to figure out these times we're in and what is ahead of all of us. But we're in a good place, and I'm excited about being here. And so thank you for having me today.
Great. Glad you're among us, and look forward to getting to know you better, at least in this online format. Who knows if Polyphony will be able to gather at Mercer. Mercer University has been so gracious and generous to us. Last year, we had a good group there. It was a bit of a relaunch of Polyphony, and David Keith has assured me that their commitment to Polyphony is ongoing, and don't know exactly what that'll mean for us in winter of 2021. God only knows, right? Yeah. I want to close by sharing with you a note that I received in the mail from a choir member 2 or 3 days ago. This is a choir member who has chosen not to connect to these Zoom calls as the months have gone by. And this is a very faithful choir member. And it's a note that I have just sort of held on to it for a few days. It's been sitting on my desk, and I read it and I think about it. She and I finally exchanged emails this morning. But I want to read this to you and just allow this to perhaps focus our attention on how to pray for ourselves and what we're called to do, and for those among us who may be just hanging on. So here it is in a beautiful, I'm not going to show you the card because it would identify her name. And I know you don't know her, but it's a beautiful, unique characteristic of script that I just love to see. Doug, I'm going to suppose there is some hope and that I feel compelled to reach out to you. Because it's like this. My coping capability is depleted these days. That fact leads me to make decisions that are out of character. That, coupled with my fancy as an introvert to burrow under the covers, leaves me denying myself of some activities I once found pleasure in. All this to say, it's not you, it's me. Please, it's underscored. Please don't take my absence from choir personally. I am not making any declarations about a post-COVID environment. I am just getting by one day at a time. Your biggest fan, and then her name, and you have to turn the card on the side and it says, love to Lori. That's my wife. So, I love this singer, and I love the genuineness and the transparency of this note that cost her something to write. But you know what? She's not going to show up for my wonderful Zoom meetings. And she's pretty clear about that. So I pray today that we would pray for each other to figure out how to stay connected to those who just don't have the energy to do this. And it's a good reminder for me not to take it personally. When, you know, in the good old days, pre-COVID, there were 50 singers in the room most Wednesday nights out of an enrollment of 70. And we're doing really well these days if they're 25 on a Zoom call. And that's just the truth. So, allow me to offer a prayer and we'll close today. Lord, for these friends and colleagues, I give thanks and I pray your blessings on their ministries. I pray you'll give them strength when the days are hard. I pray you'll lift their spirits when their energies are depleted. Lord, we pray for the singers who, it seems, have drifted to the margins, who just don't have the strength to stay connected. Help us to know when to reach out, and help us to know when to give them space. Give us wisdom, give us courage for the facing of these days. In the name of the Christ, amen. Okay, friends, it's really great to see all of you. It's just an encouragement to see your faces. We'll hope to do this again in 2 weeks. We don't have a presenter yet, but stay tuned. We'll try to get that sorted out. We plan to do 2 meetings in October, I think 1 in November, and then, you know, that then we're really all sliding into Thanksgiving and Advent and Christmas. So we'll probably take a bit of a hiatus until January. Is that right, Kyle?
Yeah, yes, that's right.
Yeah. So, all right. I hope you have a good week. Keep your spirits up. Deep breaths. All right. Bye. Take care.